Hello and welcome back to YCS Utrecht here, the 200th YCS. We're rocking on through the Swiss rounds here.
Round 7.
Yeah, we got 2 more rounds, well this one plus 2 more rounds today. And that's not even it for the Swiss rounds, we got another 3 tomorrow. But again, we've managed to pick a cool feature match.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited about this one.
This one is actually really cool.
Alright, so we have Anthony Lopes. He's going to be playing...
Lopes,
is it Lopes?
Yeah,
My apologies.
it's
Anthony Lopes, still over everything on the naming things correctly.
Yeah.
Invoked Mech Knights is his deck of choice, and he's going to be facing off against Maximilian, who's playing Cyber Dragons. And both of these guys are still in contention for the tournament.
Yeah, it's actually... I'm quite excited to see the Cyber Dragon deck. Even like a few more formats ago, it kind of stepped in for a little while.
My favourite GX character was Zane, and my favourite deck was always the Cyber Dragon deck because things like Power Bond and Overload Fusion and all of the really ridiculous stuff that you shouldn't have been allowed to get away with.
Yeah.
Like, attack, damage step, limit or removal, and you're like, oh, that's fine.
That's unfortunate.
You could just have that. And you had like Cyberstein, pay 5,000, get Cyber Twin Dragon.
Cyber Twin, yeah.
Cyber End if you just need that little bit of piercing over the Spirit Reaper.
Yeah, Cyber End was so cool. I actually remember when the Dark Cyber Dragon artwork came out. They were so rare and I really wanted them all.
Those are the ones I really didn't like. I was like, no, Cyber Dragon isn't a dark monster. He's a light monster.
Okay. No, I liked those.
I was a teenager. I was going through a whole bunch of stuff. It really wasn't that important. It was just a trading card.
Anyway, so yeah, I liked those ones, but Matt didn't. There you go.
There you go. This is why we're on opposite sides of the panel.
Yeah, exactly. However, I get a bit more space because of my laptop. So I think that's why the Dark Cyber Dragons win. I've just seen our judge run off, so that's not good.
Let's get started. Bye, Tom.
Bye.
Thanks for coming in today. Part-timer.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here and doing 6 rounds.
So yeah, do we have stats on the actual decks themselves? Or the players even?
The players, yes. Let's take a look. So, this is where I horribly misspell Maximilian.
Copy and paste. Actually, no, you shouldn't do that because that is how you repeat an error that you made on an important document multiple times.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find it.
I've never done that before.
We're almost there. Okay, Maximilian.
Yep.
He's got a not so great win rate, to be honest, but he's attended 12 tournaments.
Okay, so it's a pretty big representation. His win rate is, what's that, 46, closer to 47.
Yeah, but it does seem that he did really well in last year's national championships. He got 60% win rate, that's pretty strong.
It's pretty solid. He's got a couple of 66.66 repeating, of course, with a chance of winning some of these other events.
Yep.
And what about Anthony Lopes? Actually really interesting to see how this match plays out against the Mech Knights. The Mech Knights are machines, right?
Yep. There's so many Lopez's that I can't find him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyway, so
if we ever have like Wally or Waldo, you're not going to be able to find him in the standings.
No, especially if there's anyone called Carmen.
Where's Carmen Sandiego?
Exactly.
Oh.
And right now you could be anywhere because I'm just attacking me. Could be anywhere because we are running 3 YCSs simultaneously right now. Is it all 3 have started now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So we have one running right here in Utrecht in Europe. We have one in North America in Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
And then one in
Latin America.
Is it Sao Paulo?
You know what? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I would have just said Mexico, but that may not be correct.
No, it's in Mexico City. Yeah,
it's Mexico City.
Yeah. So, yeah, and
huge turnouts on all of them. Actually, I think the US event was 2,776 for Ohio, and then there was like 2,500 also in Latin America. We got like over 7,000 players at a major event this year worldwide. 7,000 players all playing at the same time. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, and we'll see if Sky Striker wins all 3 of them. That'll be an interesting update.
Do you know, we've not really spoke about that, but I think it's going to be really interesting because usually whenever we have big events, the meta kind of gets defined between the YCSs or the European Championships or whatever, and we're not going to see that this time. We're going to see how the players of their respective regions define their own meta because they don't have that experience. Obviously, players talk and that kind of stuff, and
but you don't really have a chance to change your deck at this point, right? If you're in any of the other tournaments. Yeah. Actually, one of the most interesting things that we've had for our larger YCSs is the outsider deck is... One moment, we've got an announcement.
Last public events of the day, you have 10 minutes left to register. For the last public events today, you have 10 minutes left to register to win awesome prize points for our even more awesome prize wall.
So there we go.
Yeah, sorry about
10
that.
minutes left for public events.
Yeah, 10 minutes left for the rest of the day. Really interesting thing we see from the larger YCSs is usually the outsider decks that have been super successful, like Bochum, largest event we ran, World Chalice winning.
Yes.
No one saw that coming.
That was really
The 100th YCS was won by Dark World. Graffer taking that down.
Graffer was so strong back then. Really strong.
Back in
Anyway,
the day.
so we might be in a bit of a dark world behind us. However, we have Oliver Gurman and Tom Rose. Tom Rose.
Oh no, that was the worst thing you could have done.
I knew I was going to do that at least once. And Tom Payne to take us through the action, and I'm really sorry, Tom. Please take it away, Ollie.
I honestly don't get that. How can you mix them up?
Yeah.
I mean, he looks a little bit like
Luke forget that one.
I would say you look a little bit like Harry Potter, but that's the only person I would mix you up with.
Okay.
And you are a magician.
And I'm a magician. Apparently, I can tell what's going to happen.
So I mean that as a compliment.
Sure.
All right. So we got round number 7 ready to go. Maximilian Gröschler from Germany playing with Cyber Dragon of all decks, going up against Anthony Lopes from Luxembourg with Invoked Mech Knight. Who is going to take this? I mean, this is a very common matchup. We see Cyber
obviously.
Dragon.
We see this all the time. It's one of these funny matchups again where both Cyber Dragons and Mech Knight want their opponent to have monsters on the field before they summon any of theirs. So it might be a bit of a, I'm not going to play any cards, well then I'm not going to play any cards, and then...
Could be a bit like a Mexican standoff, basically.
Yeah, but it's definitely going to be the person who wins the dice roll, I'm going to guess, is going to choose to go second. Whoever wins it, which is another weird one.
Confuse the opponent even more.
It's going to confuse the opponent even more, and they're probably going to feel sad, because normally if you want to go second, you want to lose the dice roll.
They're going to expect something like a 60-card snow, and then suddenly there's a Cyber Dragon deck. All right, guys. We're having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. Let's see how the players are doing. Let's take you to the feature match table for round number 7. All right, here we have Maximilian on the left, Anthony on the right. I looked at the player match histories. Both of these guys are X2, so they are on the bubble. They need to do well. Then again, Maximilian only lost the last 2 rounds, so that means his tiebreaker at least is pretty good.
Yeah, normally you have the best tiebreakers if you win early.
The first few rounds, yeah.
Lose late, but that's not always guaranteed. But that is normally how it works, because it means the opponents you're playing have also, at that time you played them, got a good record.
Yeah. So Maximilian went up against Sky Striker Pure, World Chalice again, Pendulum. All of those matches he won, so that's how he went 4-0. And then he lost to Altergeist against Kasper Andersen from Denmark, and Kian Shabasi from Germany with Sky Striker Pure. So those were his 2 losses in the last 2 rounds.
Okay, so do we know who's going first yet? It looks like the Cyber Dragon deck's going first.
As for Anthony Lopes, just going to try and bring that up for you guys as well. He had his losses in the very first round and in the 4th round, so in terms of tiebreakers, he's not doing so well. He lost in the first round to Sky Striker Pure. Then he won against Dinosaurs. He won against Burning Abyss. Talk about diverse field. He lost to Sky Striker Trickstar. Then he won against Sky Striker Pure, and then he won against Altergeist. Actually, also a Danish player, Kim Just Jensen, who used to be famous for playing Dinosaurs.
Should we get up the text of the new Cyber Dragon Veer? Sorry to interrupt you. It's one of the new Cyber Dragon cards.
Yeah, Cyber Dragon number 4 would be the perfect translation, but somebody decided to keep the German name in there. It becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. If you normal or special summon Cyber Dragon, except during this damage step.
You can special it from your hand.
Yes, in defense position.
And it gives your Cyber Dragons some bonus attack and defense.
Gains 500.
Yeah.
That's a 5.
And then there's also the new Cyber Dragon...
It might be a 3. It's really hard to read. Apologies.
Cyber Dragon Core, which is going to add a Cyber Dragon spell or trap from your deck to your hand.
So we're almost at the point where you can actually play 40 cards and all of their names is going to be Cyber Dragon.
That would be... you probably can. I think there's enough Cyber Dragon names. And this card, though, needs no introduction, right?
No,
duplication.
It really doesn't.
Every time someone plays machine duplication, you know something fishy's going on, right?
Yeah, usually you're in a world of trouble when that happens.
That was the old school troop dupe scoop, is what people used to say.
But back, yeah, exactly. Back in those days, you got like monsters that had 500 attack. They could, via their own effects, go up to something like 1/9. Now it's very, very different.
Now it's different. Now you summon monsters with 2,100 attack.
Yeah, how is that possible? How is that fair?
I know.
Doesn't machine duplication say something about 500 or less?
It does, it does. I mean, the Cyber Dragon core does have 500 less attack points, but it changes its own name to Cyber Dragon.
Such a sneaky card.
Sneaky, that you can now just summon 2 copies of regular Cyber Dragon.
Back in the days when I was writing articles for the Cardmaster, German magazine, like targeting like a 13 plus audience, let's say something like that, this would have been one of those combos that I listed. So it's like, you play this card, and then you got a big field. Woohoo!
So now he's got one of the oldest sort of negate all Cyber Dragon Infinity.
Yeah.
Solemn Judgment and Silent Honor Arc rolled into one.
It's
can steal cards.
It's one of those
and negate cards once a turn.
Classic XXX with legs cards.
Indeed. I mean, it's only a 1 negate board, so I suppose you don't give it that high marks nowadays for a 1 negate board.
That's true, but I would give it stylish points.
It is style points. And the 1 negate immediately gets eaten up by a copy of Impermanence. So Impermanence is a bit irritating in that you have to just play it. So most of the time, if you've got something to negate your opponent's card effect, you might as well wait until they activate the card effect. But Impermanence, you can't do that, because if you do, then you'll have a card on the field and you won't be able to activate Impermanence from your hand. And this Psyframe driver seems to have popped up in so many people's hands this weekend.
Yeah, it's not
a bit
exactly
sad
a lucky charm
for the Gamma
weekend.
package, because it's really not something you want to draw. However, the rest of his hand, I'm not sure he can complain about. He's got Alistair, he's got Pot of Desires, he's got the one copy of Hornet Drones, and the Impermanence that just immediately answer the Cyber Dragon Infinity. So, I mean, it might be that he's capable of OTKing his opponent this turn using the Fire copy of the Fire Fusion. What's its name? I should know. Invoked Purgatrio. That allows him to attack all of his opponent's monsters once each. So what we can see now is the Invoked have gotten their hands on a new toy, which is a new Link monster, which he can Link summon now. And when you Fusion summon, while it's on the field, you can discard a card and add either Invocation or the Book of the Law from your... It might be Book of Law, I don't know, something like that. The Book of the Law. The one that lets you swap invoked fusion monsters. I assume he doesn't run that and will just add another copy of Invocation. So he'll be able to summon 2 invoked fusion monsters.
It's kind of interesting that it's the first time we see Invoked this weekend. Is it? Yeah, it is.
I think it is, yeah.
Yes.
Invoked is... It's kind of, though... It's quite interesting.
And it's fairly popular this weekend.
Yeah, it's quite good. One thing I love about Invoked is that you need only the 1 card to have an engine for the whole game. But because the deck relies on it, you have to run lots of copies of the same card, and actually having 2 of them is quite naff. You don't really want more than 1, so you want exactly 1 every game, unless your opponent negates 1, in which case you need 2, but you have to run loads of copies. So it's kind of a bit awkward in that if you draw like 3 copies, then you've just got 2 dead cards. But if you don't draw any copies, you're also dead. So you have to run loads of copies, and then it's just all a bit...
Yeah, it's a bit of
we'll see how it goes.
Weird choice, yeah.
But the new... Link monster definitely makes it a lot easier for them just to drop an OTK than it used to be.
Right.
Because they can just add an extra copy of Invocation from your deck to your hand, or in this case, the Book of the Law, which he is running, so it's a quick play spell, I think, that allows you to swap out an invoked fusion monster for another one during the battle phase if we just get the text up exactly.
Yeah, you tribute 1 invoked and you special summon 1 from your extra deck with a different original attribute from that monsters, of course. And it's treated as a fusion summon, which sometimes is also very important because then you can bring it back if it ends up in the graveyard. So, and you can only activate 1 of those, which makes sense. You only need 1 Book of Law per turn. It's only 1 law.
Only 1 law.
And interestingly enough, Trickster and Invoked, they are having a bit of a head-to-head in terms of the metagame breakdown. Invoked was at 5th place, Trickster was at 4th place, and it stayed the same.
Ooh. Oh no! And then
until round 4
overtook them.
Yeah, so Invoked was ahead, and then suddenly in round 5 Trickster was ahead again, or at least head-to-head with exactly 145 copies each. And then suddenly Invoked broke out again with 138 to 132, and then round number 7 we're looking at 119 versus 119. So they really have a head-to-head this weekend. It's going to be one of the interesting things to look at if they manage to overcome who's going to be the victory here.
It's looking like it's going reasonably well for game 1 this Invoked deck. So he's going to be able to attack more than once with the Purgatrio, which is what you like to see. It might in fact just be game on board with the Book of the Law and the Purgatrio. Oh, double Alistair. Okay, that's definitely game, yeah. So the first Alistair can be used in, well, any time at all really, to discard itself, as well as having its other pretty good effect to search an Invocation, which is the main one. They also gave it a bonus effect, which is you can discard it to give an invoked fusion monster 1,000 extra attack and defense until the end phase, which is particularly deadly with a monster like Purgatrio, which can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each and do piercing battle damage and just attack the game.
It's so mean because usually the Cyber Dragons are known for that the Twin Dragon can attack several times. The ultimate Cyber Dragon, what's his name? Cyber End Dragon, is that correct?
Cyber End Dragon,
yeah. Can do piercing damage, and in Purgatrio it's just like, yeah, I can do both of those things.
Of that.
Yeah,
and I have a friend which can buff my attack.
Yeah. So
it used to be one of my favourite answers to Scapegoat.
Oh yeah.
So if someone activated a Scapegoat and then you just summoned Alistair, you just won the game.
If you somehow can manage to pop the Scapegoat.
Yes, if you make your opponent
Twin
activate
Twisters or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
They activate it and then you just go summon Alistair,
Back in the days you need like Ashura Priest together with...
Ashura Priest Big Bang Shot.
Yeah, that was a thing. Right. Okay.
Nowadays you only need one card.
Yeah.
So the combo has improved slightly.
Yeah. We were talking about a 1.5 card combo earlier today.
Now that's a 2-card combo though, is your Big Bang Shot.
This is one, yes.
This is only one.
Alright, so Invoked Magnite seemed a bit more consistent in a way.
I think we should keep in mind that the Cyber Dragon deck was forced to go first, which denies it access to using Cyber Dragon and a few other useful cards. And the fact that in the second game, presumably the Invoked Magnite player will be forced to go first, and then basically won't be able to use any of his Mech Knights on the first 10, although he didn't need any that game, but it gives you a bunch of dead cards, because they're quite hard to use any of the Mech Knights until your opponents put any cards on the field.
Right. So your guess, generally speaking, would be that Cyber Dragon should be stronger in the second game, but...
they both want to go second.
Yeah, but because the opponent is forced to go first...
Yeah, because you'll force your opponent to go first.
Yeah, so that should favor Maximilian Gröschler.
Yep.
The side decks are going to make a difference here.
Are the side decks going to make a difference? That's an interesting question, considering that they are in German.
So Maximilian has got Evenly Matched, Infinite Impermanence, Hatronate, Dimensional Barrier.
So Dimensional Barrier is a card, it's an old card, but it could come in here to shut off any invoked fusion monsters.
Yeah, we talked about this card earlier, where we said it doesn't see as much play anymore thanks to the Link monsters.
I mean, yeah, but if you're playing a deck which doesn't rely on Link monsters and it'd probably rely on something else, like Pendulums or Fusions, Synchros, or XYZ monsters, so it might come in handy. It's a perfectly reasonable card to have in your side deck. It looks like a Rivalry of the Warlords.
Yes, that is correct.
Which might be handy. Again, it depends whether he's going to choose to go first or second. My guess is he would choose to go second against Invoked Mech Knight. And then from the Invoked, we've got Twin Twisters, Red Reboot, Hatronade, Ghost Ogre, Mind Control, John Lockbird. So I'm not really sure what... I don't know the Cyber Dragon deck well enough, and I don't know if he'll know the Cyber Dragon deck well enough to know what should come in.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Cyber Dragon deck.
Or the Cyber Dragon deck, for that matter, yeah. So, game number 2. Maximilian Gröschler has the choice who's going to go first. We expect him to say Anthony Lopes is going to be forced to go first. And he's got the Driver and Gamma in his opening hand. That's not a combo.
This Driver has been in everyone's hand all day long.
Yeah.
Sad times.
It's like it's glued to the starting 5 or something.
Indeed. Maybe the table judge is doing something, you know.
Just
fishing it out.
Be careful with those accusations.
Maybe it's just the chair. I think maybe it's been the person in that chair every time is drawn.
Actually, that is the case.
Yeah, maybe it's just there's a couple of extra copies down the back of it.
Might be the unlucky chair. Let's wait for tomorrow, where we might be eating our words when the champion might be sitting in that chair. So, okay.
So there you go. There's the payoff for letting your opponent go first, is that they pass. It's pretty good.
I was about to say, he doesn't have a lot of action here. Does have the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Don't want to play that when you go first, obviously. Nothing really here, right?
Nothing happened, yeah. So
just a terraforming.
Cyber Dragon Emergency. I honestly don't know what that card does. I know it's the new Cyber Dragon spell card.
It's just Cyber Emergency.
Let's see what it does.
There's no dragon involved.
Yeah, but it's a Cyber Dragon themed.
You add one light machine monster that cannot be normal summon set, or one Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. So you got a search card for it. It's
this seems like a reasonably good card.
Reinforcement of the Cyber Dragons.
Reinforcement of the Cyber Dragons.
If the activation of this card in its owner's possession was negated by your opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can discard one card, add this card to your hand. That's pretty tricky. So the I mean, if it's your last card that you're drawing and you really need it, and your opponent has a negation, then I think that's the one situation where it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, but
other than
it can
that,
still be ashed, because ash negates the effect and not the activation.
Okay, that's a good point. So, good card.
But definitely a good card. It's quite a useful effect.
I mean, it's an emergency, so
it's an emergency.
You need to bring your A game, really.
So now we've got the Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier's always been quite a powerful card in Cyber Dragons because it's a light machine. You can discard another light machine to special summon it and search another copy. When it's special, the first one that's special summon can add a copy of itself. So you end up with 2 light machines that you can special summon, which is pretty handy in a deck that likes special summoning, especially level 5 light machines. I think between this and Giant Trunit, this and the machine duplication, he's probably going to have enough just to attack the game with the empty board, but we should keep in mind that there are copies of, well, hand traps in the opponent's hand.
So some interruption for Anthony, who was forced to go first. But now, this is like as close as the Cyber Dragon deck gets to playing as freely as it wants, I would say.
There's no board.
So this is a really good litmus test. We can see how far it can go, how high the ceiling is.
How high is the ceiling?
That this deck can break.
I mean, ideally, if you're being very cunning here, the main thing that's going to stop you OTKing your opponent is Gamma, because Gamma's the thing that's going to summon more monsters to your opponent's field. Like, if they negate your effects, you're probably not that bothered.
But that Gamma is benched thanks to that driver.
Well, no, you can still use the Gamma.
Oh, okay, but you don't get the full effect, basically.
No, you just lose out a bit because you've got a... so it can fetch it from the deck, but you would much rather fetch it from the deck, because you're drawing the driver, it's just like a card that you didn't get to draw. You'd just much rather it was any other card. It being in your hand doesn't actually stop you from using the Gamma at all. It just means it wasn't another card.
Right.
And there's just no benefit at all to drawing it. So it's as if you just drew
it's like a -1.
A blank. Yeah, it's just a
at
straight
least
up
it's like
-1.
Yeah, you don't get to add a +1.
Yep.
In a way. It's a bit confusing.
So I think there was a bit of miscommunication between the players there. So I think perhaps Maximilian went a little bit faster than Anthony was happy with. So he wanted to jump the gun and activate his machine duplication before
his opponent had a chance to respond.
He'd wanted to respond to the Cyber Dragon core with Ghost Ogre to stop the machine duplication.
Yeah.
So what's this new Cyber Dragon card we've got here? I should really know these Cyber Dragon cards.
Cyber Repair Plant.
Cyber Repair Plant. Oh, I do know that one. It's just shiny, so I didn't recognize the picture.
Yeah, so if a Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. If you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard, this is not the case. At activation, you can activate both effects. So, you can either add 1 light machine monster from your deck to your hand, that could be a Cyber Dragon, or you can target 1 light machine monster in your graveyard and you shuffle it back into your deck. I think the first effect is a bit more powerful than the second one.
Indeed, indeed.
But if you get to use both, you're gonna be happy.
So the Ghost Ogre was activated, but
he still ended up with 2 more Cyber Dragons.
Was not destroyed. So again, I've probably missed something here. What do we think's happened? How did it come back?
So, the problem was he has skipped the core search, but it is mandatory, and that's why they had to rewind the game. That's one thing that we didn't really know, because
the core search is mandatory. Okay, yeah, that is definitely something I didn't know.
So, okay, I'm just gonna... I think it now left the field, right? So,
well, he was able to use the machine duplication, so I'm wondering what the Ogre did. But for the time being, we can have a look at the new Link monster, Cyber Dragon Seeger.
Yeah, that's interestingly enough, that's how we bring it up. So they just kept German words in all of those card names. So it's really easy to translate for us, interesting enough. Seeger is Victor, by the way. He's like the victorious one. So this card, it becomes Cyber Dragon, as always. During each battle phase, if this card has not declared an attack, you can target 1 machine monster you control with 2000 or more attack. For the rest of this turn, that monster gains 2100 attack, def, and neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this monster, and you can only use it once per turn. So you can pump something, get rid of a big monster, but you don't get to do any damage.
It's not going to do any extra battle damage.
Yeah, it sounds fair.
And then we've got, well, that's it's not what you want, is it?
Not when you're going to go for an OTK. It's not exactly like, okay, let's not do any damage in this OTK.
And then there's Cyber Dragon Nova actually has its own effects that are useful in the Cyber Dragon deck, but they don't come up outside the Cyber Dragon deck, because normally you just overlay into it before you turn it immediately into a Cyber Dragon Infinity.
So I got a word from the judges that say that the repair plant got back the core, and this is how he basically started the combo again after the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit came down. So thank you, judges.
And then we should... I think Cyber Dragon Nova has some way of giving monsters extra attack that's prompted the infinite impermanence.
Yeah, and, I mean, normally that would be an OTK, but let's not forget about that Gamma in hand.
So Cyber Dragon Nova allows you to special summon
that target.
A Cyber Dragon from a graveyard, and its quick effect is you can banish a Cyber Dragon from your hand field
phase
or
up from your monster zone, and it gains 2,100 attack.
Okay, so between the 4 Cyber Dragon attacks, it would have been enough damage to attack the game for 8,200, but the infinite impermanence has put a stop to that.
All right, so very explosive deck. We just saw that.
Still got the Cyber Dragon Infinity on the board.
So that means a negate. And Anthony Lopes suddenly a bit in the ropes here.
Yeah.
Look, staring down a field full of Cyber Dragons, all of which look very threatening with a lot of attack. And now he needs to find a way out of this.
Indeed. So I think he's direly hoping that his opponent will activate the Cyber Dragon Infinity effect before he puts a monster on the field.
So he can then get to use
then
Gamma.
kill it with the Gamma, yeah.
Right. How is he going to accomplish that?
How is he going to accomplish that? Well, he tried, first of all, with Meltdown, and he might just try with Brilliant Fusion. Yeah, that is what he's going to do. So Brilliant Fusion's kind of an interesting tech choice in Invoke Mech Knight. So it gives you the extra normal summon, which gives you a few extra plays with your Alistair. And it's also level 5, so I'm wondering what you can do with that, level 5. You obviously got plenty of light monsters because all the invoked monsters are light, as are Gamma and Ogre. And it's nice to have light monsters in your graveyard.
And just something I quickly want to point out, Maximilian Gröschler doesn't have just the Infinity, he's also holding on to an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So 2 possible negates for him.
2 possible negates. I am surprised. Normally a card you would want to Ash, Brilliant Fusion. But he's chosen not to in this case. And
now he goes for it.
And that's enough to make the conceit. So it's quite a nice way to play it.
He actually played around the Gamma without knowing that there was a Gamma, in a way.
Yeah. It's a strategy against the Invoke deck, is just to negate the Alistair search if you can, because that's the thing that they can't do again, because that requires you to normal summon. However, in this case, there was the Seraph Knight on the field, so if he had another Alistair, he could have just summoned another one. So it was perhaps a risk, but I guess he had the copy of Ash in his hand. So if there was he may have just decided, look, I'm just not going to let you search an invocation.
But we really got to see what the Cyber Dragon deck can do. So kudos where kudos are due.
Indeed.
He did go for a very big attack, and there was quite the swing with 8,000 life points down to 1,700. And he was only hanging in there thanks to the infinite impermanence that was like rescuing him.
And to end with nearly game on the board.
Yes. And then 1 negate on the field, another negate in hand. That's a hand trap, not the most out of left field choice for a deck.
No, Bash is probably, I would guess, the most popular card in the tournament.
It might as well be. I would be surprised if it isn't. So Maximilian Gröschler ties the score, now has the psychological advantage of having won the last duel. Sometimes
if I was going to guess who was sort of feeling the most confident they were going to win, I would go with Anthony.
Thanks to the fact that
he gets to choose who starts. Always, it's a good feeling to win game 1, because that means game 3 you're either if you want to go first, you can go first, and if you want to go second, you can go second. And that does make quite a big difference nowadays as to choosing who goes first or second.
Yeah, it was funny because we had Thomas, our table judge, who we talked to after the first game, the very first feature match of the start of the day. And then we said, hey, can you point out to us who's going first? And he was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has changed again, where it's not obvious that you want to go first all the time. Because there was a long time when that was the case.
There was, but now you don't get to draw 6.
No.
And there are all these insanely powerful cards going second.
Stuff like
Mech Knights, evenly matched.
All right. So our guess is that Anthony Lopes from Luxembourg is going to allow Maximilian Gröschler to go first.
I would bet quite a lot
and
on
that's
that.
That's what he just
considering
indicated.
he is playing the Mech Knight deck.
Very gentleman-like. He
Very
was just like indicating, you go first.
You can do it.
You may do it. You may go first.
I don't mind. That Cyber Repair Plant does look very different when it's shiny. I know what the picture looks like, but I just didn't recognize it at all.
Right.
Let's have a look at the hands.
Yeah, they're going to be loading in just a second. You see our volunteers standing behind those guys. I can see
a Galaxy Soldier, and I can see that machine duplication yet again. Being one of the most powerful cards. He's probably got to feel pretty happy with himself for drawing the machine duplication.
Right, and here we have the hand of Maximilian Gröschler.
And a Dimensional Barrier. One of the cards we saw in the side deck might come in.
Is this not that bad, going first?
I would, again, I don't know the Cyber Dragon deck that well, but I don't know what other cards he would want.
Right, so Cyber Dragon Core.
I assume if you're going to Ash anything, you're going to Ash Machine Duplication. It's a pretty good card to Ash.
It's got a very big target on its forehead.
Something that summons 2 monsters from the deck.
Machine Duplication might as well be running around with like an apple on its head.
It's there up. The only card that's more fun to Ash, well, possibly the most fun card to Ash, has got to be Left Arm Offering, right?
Yeah.
Your opponent banishes their entire hand. Or if you want to be particularly hilarious, you let them search grass first.
So does it resolve?
No, he's activated Cyber Repair Plant. Now he's going to activate
okay, here we go, yeah.
Well, the sad thing about Machine Dupe, it is...
Look at the face of Anthony Lopes. He's like, what is happening here?
It is before the time of once per turn was on all the cards. So if he had a second one, I'm pretty sure he could just activate it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like he does.
All right, so one trick of the Cyber Dragon deck has been taken out of its bag. Now he needs to find a different way to victory.
Yep, he's got the Galaxy Soldier again, which is pretty handy. I don't think he's too worried about the Galaxy Soldier effect resolving, because what's going to happen is he's going to add another Galaxy Soldier, and then that's going to turn into Cyber Dragon Infinity. But you've got Infinite Impermanence, but as far as I can tell, there's no real reason to negate it now and stop him making the Infinity when you could just negate the Infinity anyway.
Right.
Make him discard an extra card from his hand.
Do you think that the Dimensional Barrier is going to come in handy here?
I think it could. But currently there's no access to activating the invocations. There is an invocation in Anthony's hand, but he can't use it.
Still got a Pot of Desires, though.
He has still got a Pot of Desires. Okay, so he is shotgunning the Infinite Impermanence.
Interesting.
It's fair enough. Personally, I think I would have just left it and let him summon the Infinity, because that way... I mean, I don't know the Cyber Dragon deck inside and out, but it doesn't seem implausible to me that the Cyber Dragon deck might be capable of sneaking another level 5 machine onto the board, considering that is the theme.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So maybe if you just let him make the Infinity and then negate that with your Impermanence, in this case you risk the possibility they might activate Instant Fusion or something, and then still have that Cyber Dragon Infinity.
If he goes with the noodle soup of death. All right, so... Despite that negation, pretty good opening for Maximilian Gröschler.
Yep, despite 2 negations.
And 2 even, yeah. And Anthony Lopes now down to 4 cards in his opening hand, despite going second. However, one of them is the Pot of Desires.
One of them is Pot of Desires, which it looks a lot like Pot of Greed.
It does, yeah.
It draws 2 cards.
It's one of the cards in the drawing contest that was sometimes immediately being called. Like, yeah, of course that's a pot. And sometimes Luke Parks was in that little competition.
Not very good at it.
Yeah, he received a lot of negative comments where people were like, how did you win the European Championship when you don't know what this card looks like?
I mean, you don't really have to know the pictures that well.
No, you don't. Yeah, that's the card that draws 2 cards. I remember now.
So I mean, I'm interested to see. So he's decided again to hold the Pot of Desires. I don't know why. I don't know why he's activated. He's summoned a Kagari before the Pot of Desires.
Is there something that he really doesn't want to see negated?
I don't know,
sorry, not negated.
I don't know
banished.
what negates Hornet drones.
Yeah.
Then, like, what negates both Hornet drones and Pot of Desires?
There's a Mind Control being added to the hand.
That's a good card, going second. And he's drawn the Brilliant Fusion, so it's important to check whether your Garnet has been banished. And I can't tell whether it has. But he can't activate the Brilliant Fusion right now anyway, because he's got the monster in his extra monster zone.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Cyber Dragon Link monster is generous enough.
Now he's checking his banished cards.
He's checking it again, just to double check that there is no Gem Knight in it, but I didn't see very quickly. But unfortunately, the Gem Knight fusion, the Brilliant Fusion, is going to get met with the same fate as the Invocation, which is a Dimensional Barrier.
Right.
So which could be a bit of a swing. Oh, it's going to be very sad if he uses Phoenix first.
It's not just a bit of a swing.
Well, yeah. So he's gonna try and get rid of it, and now it's going to be Chain, calling fusions.
There we go.
And that's going to really put a damper on his turn, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably not something he was expecting to see. And probably
no, I don't think anybody.
Definitely not something he's going to be happy about, because he's got Alistair to search an Invocation of Brilliant Fusion, all of which fusion summon. And now he can't do that.
Definitely nice side-taking tech by Maximilian Gröschler. Earlier we said this card doesn't see as much play anymore, and here it really shines. And I'm not talking about the artwork or the rarity of the card. Yeah. It is, but shines in the sense that it stops his opponent dead in his tracks.
There's always the possibility called Ritual, though. You never know.
Yeah. So Maximilian Gröschler very likely to see another turn. He's got a Kaiju, he's got a Cyber Dragon.
Yeah, it doesn't look so much like he's going to do a lot with his turn, but he gets one.
Yeah, he gets one, exactly.
He gets one, which is more than he might have got without the Dimensional Barrier. So I guess for Anthony, his choice is whether he summons the Alistair now or not.
Right.
I don't see why you wouldn't, unless you're afraid of it getting hoovered up to somewhere where you can't use it.
Yeah, do you still want to hold onto something, so even if your opponent rebuilds, you can then come back again? Or
but then, I mean, it searches the Invocation, which sits in your hand anyway. My only concern with summoning it might be that it gets put somewhere where he can't then fuse with it. So, for example, Cyber Dragon Infinity might take it as a material.
Right. That wouldn't be good.
A Nightmare Unicorn might shuffle it into the deck to stop you from using it. So it's probably the safer play to leave it in your hand. But then, I mean, we say the safer play. It's like, it's the play that will definitely let you use that card. It might be that having the extra monster on the field at some point would have won you the game.
Exactly, yeah. In other cases, you have to take risks. You need to go big, or like we often say, go home in these tournaments.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's not enough to not lose the game. You need to play to win. Like,
I mean, like holding resources is often like referred to as the safe play, but it doesn't mean it is. I mean, it's I don't know. It might be that it's just better to summon it. So we've got the Cyber Dragon Core, which has got a nice grave effect of allowing you, I believe, just to special summon a Cyber Dragon from your deck if you control no monsters. But it might be a Cyber Dragon monster as opposed to just a Cyber Dragon. But I think it's just a Cyber Dragon.
Cyber Dragon Core?
Cyber Dragon Core. So we want the second effect.
It's just...
Is...
Yeah, it's just a Cyber... Oh, no, sorry. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon, right on the field.
So it says, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can banish it from your graveyard to special summon a Cyber Dragon from your deck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not... Oh, it is a Cyber Dragon monster.
Yeah.
So I think that means he can summon any Cyber Dragon monster and not just the OG Cyber Dragon. Because then it would just say...
one Cyber Dragon monster, yes.
Cyber
Dragon. Can be anything, not just Cyber Dragon itself.
Indeed, but he's decided that Cyber Dragon is his favorite.
Is there anything else that is Cyber Dragon something? Cyber Dragon Fear, Cyber Dragon...
The entire deck.
Yeah, okay. No, I was thinking of something like... they all start with Cyber Dragon. Okay, I take everything back that I just said.
I mean, he's already got one of those anyway, so maybe he just wanted the Cyber Dragon. I keep thinking that its name is
something like Cyber Core, for example.
Because it's level 5. No, they all have Cyber Dragon in the name. So now we're going to see one of the new... well, it's not that new, but Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which is kind of the evolution of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which allowed you to fuse with Cyber Dragon and any machine monsters.
Yeah, that was the popular choice for Overload Fusion back in the days.
I know, that's Over Dragon. Fortress Dragon is Cyber Dragon and any machines on the field.
Oh, right.
Which I think is in his extra deck.
Hey, this deck has completely broken me at this point.
Fortress Dragon, Over Dragon was the one, you use like Future Fusion to send everything and then Overload Fusion to banish it all and have this absolutely giant... 12,000 attack.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was pretty fun. They could attack everything. But no, that is not the case. Now you just get one that gains 1,200 per material, I think.
You just get that one.
You just get that one. I mean,
get that one really good monster.
Summon.
But it's a 1.5 card combo.
I guess, it requires your opponent. I don't know what that means, actually. That's probably a different... You need a different, unit for your opponent having a card.
It's 0.15.
Yeah, maybe it's not a number. Maybe it's like a vector or something. You know, you need a card, your opponent needs a card.
So it's basically Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's like a 1A combo or something.
Like 4-dimensional chess, basically. All right. So where does Maximilian Gröschler go from here? He brings out yet another new card.
He brings out yet another Cyber Dragon Link monster and passes. I'm not entirely sure why he summoned the Cyber Dragon Link monster here.
So we got 2 copies of Brilliant Fusion, Invocation, Allies to the Invoker.
A long time ago, it was good play to not leave Cyber Dragon and a machine on your own side of the field in case your opponent ran Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. But I don't think anyone's doing that anymore.
No, nobody has enough space in their side decks.
Indeed. I mean, if you had an infinite extra deck, then why wouldn't you play it? But you don't.
All right. So he kicks.
So now he can
off.
use all of his nice fusions. So the nice thing about Seraph Knight is you can summon Invoker twice, which lets you add 2 copies of Invocation, which is pretty handy. So you activate the first Invocation, and then you activate another one.
So Anthony Lopes really can...
And in fact, he's got 2 Invocations. He can make the new Link Monster, which will get him a 3rd Invocation, and he can normal summon Alistair again, which would get him a 4th Invocation. That's a lot of Invocations.
It is indeed. There's no way to argue this. But what I'm picking up here is that Anthony Lopes has basically been shifting gears. He's like really fast going through the motions here. He sees that opening. He's like, okay, this...
I think he knows he's now... Well, now you see if you're not going to get interrupted again... Now, last turn he was told he couldn't do anything, and now he can do things, so he's probably quite happy about it. And he's probably just double-checking this card is not going to do anything nasty to his turn.
Absolutely. So, how big can he go here? Do you think he's going to assemble a field that is big enough?
I expect an OTK will be coming down, because he's got the way he can... Well, Fusion Summon at least twice, and then use the Book of the Law, unless he banished it. But he may have... If he's banished the Book of the Law with Pot of Desires, then it makes it slightly harder to OTK here.
But only slightly.
Yes, indeed. It depends what other Link monsters he's got access to. So if we have a look, maybe a Link 3, but he's already used the Nightmare Unicorn. So maybe a Decode Talker to give some extra attack points.
just checked on the chat from the judges, and Thomas told us last round he called Fusion, obviously.
I wasn't being that serious.
For the dimensional barrier. And apparently, guys, you are going to get a treat in form of the full deck list of the Cyber Dragon deck, because Rudy, who is working on our written coverage, is going to do a deck feature. You're not going to be able to see that while the event is underway, while Maximilian is still competing. However, once he either drops out of the tournament or he decides, yeah, that's fine, I'm not in competition for number 1 here this weekend, it's going to be the full deck list is going to be posted in the written coverage later on today or maybe tomorrow.
So Anthony's not used the effect of Alistair the Meltdown Invoker, the Link monster. So that's either going to mean that he sided out or he banished the copy of the Book of the Law that he was playing. So
yeah, somebody was really playing with the articles when they put the card name together.
Indeed. Maybe he's doing some arithmetic. That's always a bad sign, I think, if your opponent's doing arithmetic.
That's scary. If you wanna throw your opponent off track, just get a score pad.
Just get some pen and paper.
Write
just wait until they've got this
down.
absolutely unbreakable board, and then get some pen and paper.
Yeah, you might trick them into shuffling up.
Indeed.
We've actually, this is like the perfect moment for a callback, because very, very early on we had an OTK deck. What was the name again? It starts with C.
Crusadia?
Yeah, where we weren't sure how he OTK'd his opponent.
And he OTK'd his opponent by convincing his opponent that it was an OTK.
He did not have enough damage. We were puzzling over this for hours and hours, and then at some point one of the table judges was, yeah, we figured it out. He didn't OTK him in terms of life points. It's just that the opponent shuffled up because he thought he was dead. So this is the absolutely most important skill that you can have. You need to be so convincing that your opponent is just going to shuffle up, even when you haven't won.
Although in this case, I do think he has enough damage on the board.
He's getting there.
Boral Sword normally spells game. Given you get this 4,000 attack, double attacking monster, that's normally game.
So now there's a quick... what does this card do? What does my card do? It's going to be explained to Maximilian, and there's a very good chance that he's not going to like the explanations that he's going to hear.
Maybe we should double... Again, we got up the Cyber Dragon, but I don't think it did anything but boost the effect of another Cyber Dragon. unless I'm wrong.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, we don't have that card, so we don't have that card here right now.
So if it just boosts the effect of another, can it boost its own attack?
It should be able to, if that's the card that we looked up earlier.
If it boosts its own attack, then this might go a little bit wrong for Anthony Lopes.
So, but I think he's good. So
yeah, so if it's not boosted its own attack, then that looks like it'll be game for Anthony.
That is it. There's the handshake. And that means that Invoked Mech Knight stays in the tournament, whereas Cyber Dragon, with 3 losses now after 7 rounds, is still a respectable finish, so to speak, with a completely rogue deck. Doesn't seem to be in contention for winning this tournament.
Yeah, I think some players were doing some calculations.
Yeah.
And it looks like X2 is going to have to at least be, you can take most 2 losses and maybe a draw.
All right, guys, let's talk about that match real quick in our post-match analysis. So yeah, there you had it. There was a bit of a duel between 2 gentlemen that wanted their opponents to go first. The die roll was really important, actually. In every single game, the player that went second won. Yes, that was the case for all 3 duels. And they were also over very quickly, all 3 of them.
Well, the last game.
You
know, it took 4 turns.
Yeah.
So don't get too ahead.
We were
a whole 4.
We were in the late game. Yeah.
That was pretty late, you know.
Yeah.
Both players were running quite low.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So the Cyber Dragon deck still needs some tweaking. Maybe like 1 or 2 more cards that can help the archetype.
I don't feel like it has quite enough tools yet. At the moment, it just summons a few 2100 attack point monsters, which is enough to attack your opponent for game, maybe.
I mean, obviously, if he has the right cards, we've seen that with a negation on the field with the Infinity, then another hand trap in hand. After his opponent already had to dump something to stop him from going too crazy on his turn. That was a really good situation for him, of course. And then there's nothing the opponent can do, usually.
Yeah.
But if the opponent has 1 or 2 negates and you don't have like really good hand, then you might be in a world of trouble.
I would say, yeah. Normally, it seems to when you bank on Cyber Dragon Infinity, it tends to be the only negation that you have, even though it's like a great negation. It negates anything.
Yeah.
But if your opponent has a way to push through 1, then they can probably get through it.
Yeah, we've seen them with cards like Infinite Impermanence. There are
just 1 Impermanence, 1 Widow Anchor, 1 Afterburner.
There are ways around it, and a couple of ways in this particular format. But Invoked Mech Knight so far doing quite well, sitting tight in that number 5 spot that it used to be, or number 4 spot. It's still having this little fight with Trickster that we mentioned. It's going to be very interesting to see at the end of the day or at the start of tomorrow after we perform the cut, which one wins this one. Yeah. So
maybe they might become friends, and we'll see Trickster Mech Knights.
We may as well just try and quickly bring up the deck breakdown for you guys. This is what it looked like at the start of the day, if we can bring that up. There you see one thing we mentioned, Sky Striker Pure, almost twice as many copies as the other decks. If we look at the most recent version of that same breakdown, now Sky Striker Pure has twice as many as the next.
So it's almost the same, actually. The ratios don't look like they've changed.
Yeah, almost no deck switched spaces.
Oh no, Goki has overtaken Dinosaur and Burning Abyss, but there really wasn't that much between them.
Yeah, Goki moved up 2 ranks. Yeah, it was a difference of 9 decks. Now it's a difference of 2 decks.
And Goki's overtaken.
And Goki's overtaken, yeah. So they made up some leg room, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, everybody's staying in the same seat. In terms of relative numbers, not much change. We did predict that Burning Abyss is going to do well.
Yeah, but it's being outperformed by Dinosaur currently.
Yeah, currently, which is not something we did expect. All right, guys. With that, you've seen a little bit of stats. We're going to be preparing our next round feature match to have yet another interesting deck for you guys. We do have an interesting Bubble Boy this weekend because Joshua Schmidt is currently X2, so he's hanging in there. This might be a feature match for next round. If you have a special request for the feature match, let us know in the Twitch chat. Every once in a while I get to read it. With that, having said all of that, let's take it to Luke and Matt for their post-match analysis.
Thank you very much, Ollie. Yeah, that was an interesting game.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was good to see the Cyber Dragons coming out. It's something that I've personally really enjoyed messing around with a lot.
Yeah.
They got some new cards coming in the upcoming Duelist pack, so it's good to see Cyber Dragons performing pretty strongly here in the early rounds. And
yeah.
add a few more tools and you could have some real dangerous stuff on your hands.
Yeah, I liked what you did there. Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, you know, subliminal. We're not really allowed to put it in commercials, but you can put it on the live stream. There's no rules against that.
Yeah, well, Matt, you're going to get the channel flagged. Come on.
All right. I didn't...
You're the one complaining about other people. You're doing it yourself.
We'll be all right.
Okay, good. So, tell us about the match.
Yeah, machine duplication, good card. Resolved machine duplication, good stuff.
Yeah. I remember when I used to
Cyber
resolve,
Dragon Infinity.
It was all about Cyber Valley back then.
Cyber Valley, oh yeah, draw 2 cards. Oh, Mind Control, draw another 2 cards.
Yeah.
Dimension Fusion, draw another 4 cards.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Now you can just summon 4 monsters. Who needs to draw 4 cards? So you can just summon your whole hand and win.
I loved seeing Infinity again. Infinity is one of my favorite Exceed monsters. So
Cyber Dragon Infinity is super interesting. As Tom rightly pointed out there, because of the amount of investment you have to put into it, it usually ends up being your only negate if you don't have a hand trap.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like a much weaker start now, but it's still incredibly powerful. It takes away monsters from your opponent, and it also has negates attached to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Dimensional Barrier being a bit of a shocker. Very good for this particular matchup.
I saw it on the screen, and I was like, and he put it in the graveyard, so I was like, is that really Dimensional Barrier?
Yeah, when we printed that was literally one of the most ridiculous trap cards we printed at that point. Don't worry, guys, we appreciate we've gone a little bit overboard on some of them. But it's just like, after Link Monsters came out, it's like Dimensional Barrier all of a sudden just vanished off the face of the earth, because it's just like, oh yeah, you can't stop them playing Link Monsters, and Nightmares are the best Link Monsters, so here we go, it doesn't do anything. But now, even with Invoked in the format, keeping that in is a pretty good cool on tech. Yeah. It's actually weird, because you usually associate Cyber Dragon as a fusion strategy. So, Dimensional Barrier, fun one there.
And now it's just a bit different now, I guess. Cyber Dragons have changed a lot.
But if you're anticipating Invoked, it seems like a very smart decision to keep a couple of Dimensional Barriers in hand.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really fun match for us to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the Yu-Gi-Oh games. Unfortunately, we have an announcement. Hopefully you enjoyed the Yu-Gi-Oh games after the last round, and we have lots more of those to show, and hopefully we can eventually announce who the winning team was as well.
Actually, the teams keep coming up and asking about that.
Yeah, they do. Almost every round, in fact.
They're invested. You guys might think it's nonsense, but they're invested.
Yeah. Almost every round, Joshua Schmidt and Eugen Heid come past, because they were a team.
Yeah, but they're like the most competitive team in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've been up every round since round 1.
Like Joshua's like buying a bus ticket, and he's just like, I got mine faster than you. That's how competitive that guy is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of him, we may have him for the next round because he's currently on the bubble. But that can be it from us. Hopefully the tech team's got some new Yu-Gi-Oh games to show you. So
sorry about that.
Hopefully you enjoy.